This is something you guys have been asking for like crazy, and I've finally got it for you. It took some serious digging, but today, I've got 3 real stories that all take place during school lockdowns. Yeah, the kind of stuff that makes your heart race just thinking about it. Let's get into the first one. It was a boring day in calculus, nothing unusual there. But it was Friday, 7th period, which meant just one thing. The weekend, and more importantly, spring break, was almost here. You could feel the energy in the room. Everyone was antsy, eyes on the clock. Most of my friends had tests in their other classes, but we got lucky. Our teacher, who was super laid back, just decided to chill with us. He pulled up Sporkle, calm, and started a random brand logo quiz. We were shouting out answers, laughing, having a good time. I still remember it so clearly. My friend had just answered one of the questions, Adidas, and right then, everything changed. The dean's voice came over the loudspeaker. Now, I'll never forget how panicked he sounded. "This is not a drill," he said. "Teachers, go into lockdown." Now, I got actual chills. And even our teacher, normally the chillest guy in school, suddenly snapped into action. He rushed to turn off the lights and waved us to the back of the room. We huddled together, silent. 2 minutes passed, but it felt like 10. Then, the hum from the panel in the back of the room cut out. The power was down. That's when things got real. We were all glancing at each other, wide-eyed. This wasn't just a precaution. Something was happening. Then we heard it. A man, screaming at the top of his lungs, echoing down the hallway. It wasn't just yelling, it was full-blown rage. And the closer it got, the more real the fear became. 2 girls in class started crying. We all froze. Nobody moved. The man was slamming lockers now, still yelling, "I'll kill all of you." I've never felt fear like that before. Everyone looked to our teacher, who motioned for us to stay quiet. We were all trying to keep our breathing low, our sobs silent. And then, the banging moved to our classroom door. That same guy started pounding and screaming, "Open up!" And one of the crying girls screamed in terror. The door shook. His fists pounded against it like he was going to break it down. And it felt like it went on forever. But finally, he moved on. We heard the sound of him walking away, still yelling like a maniac, fading down the hall. It was quiet again. About 10 minutes passed, though in our minds, it felt like a lifetime, before the dean's voice came back on. What he said next was honestly shocking. Apparently, a man, described as mentally unstable, had walked into the school. He attacked the woman at the front desk, who ran out screaming. Nobody knew if the guy was armed. And at the time, our school had no cameras, no proper security. The place was wide open. Staff had searched all the halls and classrooms and couldn't find him. So the dean told teachers to resume class, but keep the doors locked. No one was allowed to leave. The scariest part? That night, one of the janitors found the guy asleep in a storage closet at the back of the school. Rumor was he had a .44 Magnum sticking out of his pocket. The janitor must have spooked him somehow, maybe left the door open, because by the time cops got there, he was gone. To this day, none of us know if they ever caught him. But I like to hope that wherever he is, he's getting the help he obviously needs. That was story 1. But trust me, it's just the beginning. The next one? It's equally disturbing. Alright, let's get into story number 2. This one happened at a middle school, and it all went down during lunch. Now, at this school, there were 2 lunch periods. The first one was for all the 6th graders and half of the 7th graders. The second one was for the rest of the 7th grade and all 8th graders. This particular day, it was early October, overcast, rainy, just a gloomy vibe in general. During the first lunch, everything seemed normal until we heard it. Boom, 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 for loud bangs in a row. Now, at first, a lot of kids, including me, thought it was just thunder. I mean, it sounded like thunder. But then, the screaming started. The whole lunch crowd went into full panic mode. People were running, yelling. Some even dropped their food trays. I remember thinking, okay, everybody's just overreacting. It's probably nothing. But then, campus security ran in. They were yelling at everyone to get into the multi-purpose room right now. Kids who were still in line buying lunch had to literally throw out their food and rush inside. So me and my friends followed the crowd. The multi-purpose room was huge, with this massive glass wall in the back. But as soon as we got inside, security started pulling the curtains shut, covering every window. Adults were posted at every exit. Everyone was confused, scared. Whispers started flying. Then my friend Eric, who's always the one to ask questions, went up to one of the adults and asked what was going on. He came back a few minutes later and told us, "You know those houses right in front of TMS?" We were like, "Yeah, what about them?" And he goes, "There's a guy over there, a mentally disturbed man. He barricaded himself inside his house. He's threatening to commit suicide and said he'll kill the cops if they try to evict him." We were stunned. But then Eric dropped the real bomb. He's also a registered sex offender, and he's been seen walking around outside school, watching kids. That's when it clicked for all of us. This was way more serious than thunder or a prank. We ended up being stuck in that multi-purpose room for almost an hour, missing 2 entire periods. Eventually, once things calmed down, they escorted us back to our classrooms one by one. But the part that really stuck with me? Later that day, I found out that guy, the same one who caused the lockdown, lived next door to my friend Brandy. And she told me something that still gives me chills to this day. The Halloween before, she saw him in his window, cutting his arm, and writing in blood on the glass. The message? "Don't come here or I'll kill you." At the time, everyone thought it was a Halloween decoration, just some creepy prop or fake blood. Even Brandy thought it was a joke. But after what happened that day, we all knew better. That guy wasn't faking anything. He was seriously disturbed, and thankfully, he never got anywhere near us. Ready for one more? This last story is way different. It's not from a student's perspective. It's from someone who had already graduated, but went back to work at his old high school. And what he went through. Let's just say, it started with a sandwich and ended with a gunshot. Okay, here's the last story, and honestly, it's probably the most intense one of the three. So, I'm 22 now, fresh out of college, and I recently landed a job at my old high school as a kind of computer intern. Not glamorous, but pretty chill. They had me working in the basement, which, don't get me wrong, was messy and disorganized like you'd expect. But there was this little 3-person office tucked away down there that was surprisingly nice. It had big desks, mini fridges, a flat-screen TV on the wall, and, get this, actual working AC. Anyone who's ever gone to a school without air conditioning knows what a luxury that is. Of course, all the school's servers and network stuff were down there too. Now, I got the job thanks to 3 of my former computer teachers. They always liked me, and honestly, I considered them more like friends than teachers. They really went a bat for me. For a while, the job was smooth. Just fixing tech, organizing files, updating systems. Until a few weeks ago, my 2 coworkers, Dave and Gary, weren't in the office at the time. They were upstairs handling some paperwork or meetings or whatever. I was on my lunch break, enjoying my sandwich, when I got a call from the front office. And the woman on the phone just says, "We're in lockdown. Possible armed intruder in the building." My heart dropped. Now here's the thing, our office down in the basement? No door, just a wide open doorway. And the basement door itself? Didn't even have a working lock. So yeah, not the safest place to be during a lockdown. Still, I did what I could. I turned off the lights, turned off my monitor, and crouched at my desk. I texted both Dave and Gary, no response. So I just sat there in the dark, checking my phone every few seconds. I couldn't call out, wasn't allowed to. Just had to wait for the all clear. 20 minutes went by. Then, I heard it. The basement door creaked open, and that creaking echoed hard down there. I sat up, confused. Was it Dave? Gary? Then came footsteps, fast ones, coming down the stairs, straight toward the office. I jumped out of my chair and ducked under the desk, heart pounding. Someone entered the office, but didn't turn on the lights. They were just standing there. No breathing, no movement. Just this heavy, silent presence in the room. And then, my phone dinged. A text. I swear to you, at that exact second, I felt like I was going to die. I clenched my teeth, trying not to make a sound. The footsteps started moving closer. I thought I was done for. Then, without warning, someone grabbed my arm and pulled me up from under the desk. It was a guy, probably mid-40s, red plaid button-up, jeans, and a reddish-black cap. He said, "It's okay. I'm just hiding down here too." I was shaking, but I managed to whisper, "What's going on upstairs?" He kind of dodged the question and instead asked, "Is there a way out down here?" I told him, "Yeah, it's that way," but something about him didn't feel right. So I asked, "Who are you?" There was this awkward pause. Then he said, "I was just here to pick up my son when a teacher told me to hide." I nodded slowly, but I didn't buy it. I glanced at my phone to check the text I had gotten earlier, and it was from Dave. It said, "Dude, this is insane. Some guy with a gunshot, Mr. Buckley. He's wearing a red shirt and a hat. Whatever you do, don't come upstairs." My stomach dropped. I was about to read it out loud, but then I looked up, and the guy was just staring at me, like he knew. I froze. He knew I knew. So I did the only thing I could think of. I ran. I bolted for the stairs, and right as I started moving, I heard it, a gunshot. The echo rang out through the basement. I don't know how, but he missed. The bullet must have ricocheted off a pipe or something metal. But I made it to the top. I pushed through the door, and thank God, police were already there. They tackled him the second he stepped out of the basement. And the best part? Mr. Buckley survived. Nobody really knows why the guy went after him. Rumors floated around, but nothing ever concrete. What I do know is that gunshot, the one that rang through the dark while I was running for my life, I'll never forget that sound. It's burned into my memory forever. And that's it. 3 school lockdown stories. All real, all terrifying in their own ways. If you've got a story of your own, or want more videos like this, drop a comment down below. And hey, stay safe out there.